With us now is Republican presidential candidate, former Texas Congressman Will Hurd. It's great to have you. The American public didn't get to see you.
That's right.
On the debate stage the first time, and now it's tougher to get there. We're looking at the polling here. You're polling at an asterisk. You know this. I don't have to bring you that difficult news. You've always said this is going to be an uphill battle. Do you think in 3 weeks you're going to be on that stage?
Well, we're working hard to make that happen, right? We've already cleared one of the polling thresholds in New Hampshire, a state that I've spent a lot of time in. I have the opposite effect of one of the other leading candidates in this race. When more people meet me, they actually like me, and that helps my numbers. So I just got to be able to get my message out more. And the donor thresholds, we're going to be hitting it. And if your viewers want to see someone like me on the debate stage, and I need you to go to hurdforamerica.com right now and donate at least $1.
Can I just ask if you yourself are genuinely surprised at how hard it's been?
We always knew the difficulty of the task, right? I knew it was hard when I moved back to San Antonio, Texas, after living there for 15 years, and nobody knew who I was, right? And so this is the thing that is fascinating, though, in a place like New Hampshire. They actually care about their role. They take their role seriously. They know they're a small state, but they're going to interview and go to places and hear about candidates. That was the part that actually makes me feel good that there are people that take that job seriously. I wasn't expecting entities like, the RNC, people at the RNC, some people at the RNC, let me be clear about that, want to keep me off the last debate stage. I was polling, I had 8 of the national polls, but it was only independents and Democrats that were voting for me, right? Hey, newsflash, that's how we're going to win in November, to have independents and Democrats be able to come over. So it's an interesting process. To me, it's been fun. I love people and being able to learn about folks. And I've also been shocked. The 3 biggest questions I get, one question is always on Ukraine, and it's why should we be there? Another question is about what is the real threat of China? Mm-hmm. And the third question, I get a question about artificial intelligence. And a lot of people are shocked that those are the things that people are asking someone like me about.
Congressman, you and I share an affinity for New Hampshire, its voters, and their kind of political process leading into their primary. However, their primary is not for several months. Sure. And I've covered many a candidate that said, just wait till New Hampshire. Right. And they stay in the race and they end up 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I think the concern here when you talk to Republicans who agree with you on a lot of things is we can't have people staying in the race 5, 6, 7 months from now, given the dynamics of things. How cognizant are you of that? How much does that factor in to your approach here?
Well, I recognize it. I think Chris Sununu, governor of New Hampshire, said it best. There needs to be a consolidation coming around winter, right? Winter is coming, and we need to be prepared for that. But also to those voters that want to see something different, right? Y'all just did some polling that showed Democrats want somebody different than Joe Biden. Republicans want somebody different than Donald Trump. Those people, you got to get engaged now, right? It's too late to wait until when voting starts in Iowa or New Hampshire. Folks that do not want to see a rematch from hell in 2024, pardon my language, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, need to start getting active now, need to start getting behind candidates now. But yes, there's no question that Donald Trump is the front runner in this race, but it's not unbeatable. His numbers are not insurmountable, and the country wants something different, and we deserve something different.
We were really struck by, former Vice President Mike Pence is going to join us on the show a little later, struck by the speech that he gave yesterday in New Hampshire talking about populism and warning against it. Let's listen to part of that. I'm interested in your reaction. Here it is.
A populist movement is rising in the Republican Party. The growing faction would substitute our faith in limited government and traditional values with an agenda stitched together by little else than personal grievances and performative outrage.
Some similar sentiments. What I'm just interested in, though, is why you think what Pence is saying, what you've been saying on this, it does not seem to be resonating with the majority of Republican primary voters.
Well, so I would say it's resonating with those folks who are more worried about putting food on the table, a roof over their head, or taking care of their kids. They're not doom scrolling on social media all day long. They're not consuming cable news, great shows like this show, you know, all the
Trying to butter
time.
us up,
you know?
Congressman.
Well, look, it's, you know, I speak the truth, right? I speak the truth. And so like the disconnect is oftentimes November. Most people think in November 2024, right? That's a long way away. The fact that only 23% of Americans engage in primaries is another problem. Usually we have about 67, near 70% engage in that in the general election. So that that 40% or so, 44% of Americans that participate in November but don't participate in primaries, those are the folks that we have to engage. Those are not the people that y'all are talking to in these polls. Those are not the people that professional political class are talking to. But if we want to change this country, if we want to make sure that we're dealing with a thriving economy or having a thriving economy at a time when new technologies like AI is going to upend every industry, this is now the time we have to engage. At a time, if we want to have unprecedented peace, at a time when the North Koreans and the Russians are working closer together and the BRICS nations are trying to de-dollarize the world, then now is the time that we have to start having.
Can I just ask real quick, though, before we run out of time? You're running in a primary. And the point that Pence was making yesterday and your point, you've lost that battle in the primary.
There are still more people in the primary that would like someone other than Donald Trump, right? That's the number. And so we got to consolidate that vote, right? And we got to inspire that group of people. And there's also still a good majority of people that right now today say, hey, we like Donald Trump, and they voted for him twice, but they know he has so much baggage that it's going to hurt his chances in November, even against someone like Joe Biden, whose numbers are so terrible.
All right. Congressman Hurd, Game of Thrones reference was in there, too. I don't know if you picked that up. Thanks for your time,
I didn't.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much. It's nice to have you.